Also the prophet in chapter 39 verse 6 shows how Hashem is specifically bringing Gog to Eretz Yisrael to attack Israel, and it's going to make so many supernatural things, so many things happen that everyone will know, both the good and the bad, that none of this can come from man. None of what's happening is man-made. It's not the rockets, not the planes, there's no planes, there's no rockets, there's no nothing. Everyone is going to see and know exactly this is something that is not in the books. The prophet Isaiah in chapter 43 verse number 19, Kadosh Baruch Hu is saying, I'm bringing a new miracle. What is this new miracle? Nature is going to change. Simply Hashem is going to make a new type of nature. So the Gemara in Masechet Brachot, page 13a, Tana Rav Yosef says, this is Gog uMagog war. This is how Am Yisrael will go through Gog uMagog, whose last troubles will make them forget the previous troubles they ever had. Anytime you talk to somebody about history, if you talk about recent history, you talk about the Holocaust. Parents, grandparents, they lost in the Holocaust. Go further back, talk about the pogroms, the inquisitions, what happened there, horrible, horrible things that the Goyim did to us, throughout all of history. Rav Yosef says, Gog uMagog is going to be so different that everyone's going to forget all those stories, and the only story they're going to talk about is Gog uMagog. The question is, why is the snake being compared to Gog uMagog though? Well, first, the snake is not like other animals. The Gemara says in Masechet Arachim, page 15a, in the name of Resh Lakish, what's the meaning of the snake bites without warning, without enjoyment? It's like Lashon Hara, where a person says Lashon Hara, doesn't have any enjoyment out of it. If you steal something from somebody, you enjoy what you stole. But if you say Lashon Hara about somebody, there's no joy, no benefit out of it. So that's like the snake. And when the animals gather together, they ask the snake, how come you're so evil? Where the wolf, he attacks, he kills the prey, but then he drags him away. He brings him somewhere else. Why? He's scared somebody's going to steal from him. The lion, he kills and eats on the spot. He's not scared that anybody's going to take it from him. The snake is different. Snake, he just attacks for no reason, for no benefit, not even if he's hungry. So why is Gog uMagog compared to the snake? Because unlike all of the other wars that we've ever had in history, where the nations attacked the Jewish people because they wanted their land, they wanted Yerushalayim, they wanted something, they had some type of benefit, or they felt threatened by them, like Paro felt that he was threatened by the Jews, including Hitler and Machshimo. But in general, if you look at all of the wars throughout history, anytime that they went against Am Yisrael, it was the enemy was looking for a certain benefit. Gog uMagog specifically is just going against Hashem and his Mashiach. That's what he wants. He doesn't want the land, doesn't want them to be slaves, doesn't want the money. His war is against Hashem and his Mashiach, just like the snake, not looking for any benefit. And that's in fact, Rabotai, one of the most important factors to know about Gog uMagog and why it's worthless to search or assume that anyone is Gog uMagog. We have to stick to the words of the sages in order for us to know how to handle such a thing that never existed before. But the Gemara says, why is the Tehillim where David HaMelech running away from this Avshalom, Psalm number 3, connected to the previous Tehillim, Psalm number 2, that talks about Gog uMagog? And we know that everything is there for a reason. David HaMelech didn't just write these songs, these Tehillim, these prayers, these prophecies in such a fashion and put them all one, this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3, just because that's the way it worked. No. They're there, not only every verse next to each other, but every Tehillim next to each other specifically for a reason. Just like every parasha in the Torah is next to each other for a specific reason, every verse is next to each other for a specific reason, there's a reason for this. Why? Says the Gemara in Masechet Brachot, because if a person is going to tell you someday and say, how could such a lowly servant betray his master? Have you heard of such a thing, that a lowly servant would betray his master? Have you heard that a son betray his father? People are going to say this. How could such lowly nation go against Hashem and his Torah? What do they even care about Hashem and his Torah and his Mashiach? What do they care? They're not even close, they're not religious, they don't care. What is this? They're worried about their own problems. They barely have water, they barely have air, they barely have anything. This nation is going to go be the Gog uMagog? Come on, no. What do they care about the Torah or Hashem or anything else? They care about their craziness. They're going to tell you this at the time of Gog uMagog, says the Gemara. How could such a thing that now they're finally seeing some light, they're finally seeing some good, they're able to do good things, they're going to go against the one that gave them all this salvation? This is like saying a servant went against his master, and it's just like a son went against his master. Says the Gemara, this is the reason why Psalm number 3 of Avshalom is connected to Psalm number 2 of Gog uMagog, because yes, it did happen, and just like Avshalom went against his father and did exactly what you're saying that doesn't exist, so will Gog be the lowly servant who goes against his master. Meaning the most far-fetched prospect of being the enemy of God is who Gog is. The most lowly, biggest loser, biggest nothing, That's Gog. You know what you're gonna start looking for third world countries? What do you look for? There's something called Gilui Hashem, and there's something called Aster Panim. Gilui Hashem is when Hashem makes His presence known. It's a miracle that happens. Like Hashem is showing you, obviously, how I run the world. I decide who can see you, who can't see you. The story everybody's amazed about, the beepers, where in one day a bunch of these terrorists decide to spend $1 million on beepers to communicate, and they happen to be the beepers that have bombs in them, and they kill a bunch of terrorists all at once. That's Siyat Nishmaya for such a thing to happen. No one's done such a thing. Everybody's amazed by it because it's amazing. But there was also the opposite. There's Aster Panim. That a lot of people don't realize. October 7th was a Aster Panim where Hashem covers His face, meaning that it's almost like He makes you feel like as if He's not there, where all of a sudden $1 billion fence is being cut with small little scissors, and a bunch of people with flip-flops go and kill thousands of Jews with no one to stop them for 8 hours. 10,000 terrorists enter the land. No one even knows where they are right now till this day. $1 billion fence that can identify, even if a fly lands on it, it identifies. 8 hours. No one knew what's even happening. Hashem covered His face, meaning, let me show you what it feels like is if I'm not there. The prophet Zechariah, in chapter 14, verse number 3, says, Hashem says, I'm going to go to war with the nations, all of His enemies all at once. Whoever is His enemy will be dealt with on that big day. In the Gemara in Masechet Pesachim, page 118a, this is talking about what we say in Hallel. If not for us, Hashem, do it for you. What is it about? What is David HaMelech talking about? Says Rabbi Yochanan, this is the prayer that we will say to plead with Hashem to overcome Gog uMagog. Hashem, if we don't have the merit for you to destroy them, don't destroy them for us because we don't have the merit. But at least for you, you chose us as a nation. What, you're going to destroy us now? Do it for you. Look, they're going to war against you. They're not going. It's not about us. It's about you. They're going against you, against your Mashiach. That's where they're going. Says the Gemara in Masechet Megillah, page 11a. While they will be in the land of their enemies, I will not have been revolted by them, nor will I have rejected them to obliterate them, to annul my covenant with them. For I am Hashem their God. The Gemara says, what is this about? Says Shmuel, why is he telling us He didn't destroy us, He didn't obliterate us, He did this? Just to show you. I brought you the Greeks. I brought you the Spaniards. I brought you Haman. I brought you the Romans. I didn't destroy you. Why didn't I destroy you? Because I'm still your God. You're still my kids. Says the Meshech Chochmah. This prophecy that's in the Torah, this is in Leviticus, Parashat Bechukotai, is HaKadosh Baruch Hu comforting His tormented people, letting Him know that the atrocities of the exile may seem like they're no longer God's chosen people. But Hashem says no, it's the opposite. Even in the exile, they're still my people, and my covenant with them remains in full force. When a Jew becomes well established in their new homes, in Babylonia, in North Africa, in Spain, Germany, Eastern Europe, and so on, they seek to re-establish the centers of Jewish life that they were forced to leave behind, or that they were destroyed. And from small beginnings, the Jewish people build fine institutions and achieve high levels of scholarship. But eventually comes the realization that the new generation cannot eclipse the achievement of their forebears. It's human nature. However, for people constantly to seek new horizons where they can make a great new name for themselves, they can't accomplish this in the area of Torah. So they try to excel in a whole host of different fields in their host country, whether it's in medicine, or it's money lending, or it's law, or whatever it is. Because they say, listen, I can never be the Rambam. I can never be the Ramban. I can never be Rabbeinu Yonah. I can't be Rabbi Akiva. So okay, so the yeshivas already exist. There's already people learning over there. Let me do something else with myself. I'll be the doctor. I'll be the lawyer, I'll be the governor, I'll be the president, whatever it is. Says the Meshech Chochmah. This attitude will eventually accelerate assimilation until the Jewishness of the nation is endangered. And at such times, the only way to preserve Am Yisrael as a people may be for an upheaval to force them to a new exile, where they will be forced to regroup and build new institutions of Torah and religious life. And thus our verse says, where God declares, the reason I've rejected and have been revolted by them to such an extent that I have forced them into lands of their enemies is not because I seek to destroy them or annul my covenant. To the contrary, I am their God. And the reason why they're exiled is because sometimes this is the only way to prevent them from becoming so assimilated that they disappear as a nation. So here, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us being thrown out from every single country is in order to save us. Because of the decisions that we made after we build ourselves up, we build the yeshivot, we build the shuls, we build everything, and people felt, okay, let me do some other things too. Then assimilation started, then intermarriage started, all this problem started. Hashem says, if we keep going, it's going to be 100% intermarriage, not going to be any more Jews. So what I got to do? Bring the Holocaust, bring Spanish Inquisition, bring a pogrom, bring problems. Why? Force them out of Portugal, force them out of Spain, force them out of Poland, force them out of wherever they are. Where are we going to go? To another enemy country. They're just not your enemy now. They're going to accept you for now. What do you start with? Well, the Jewish community. What does the Jewish community have? Synagogue. They start a yeshiva. So now the Torah world starts again. Because if you're just going to go into a different country and how's the Jewish community without all these things? So you have to rebuild over and over. Why am I doing that? Over and over to save you. Says the Gemara in Masechet Megillah, in the name of Shmuel, all of these travesties that I brought, the Greeks, the Romans, the Aspasia, Haman, all that stuff, that's for you to know from the same verse that despite the fact that I brought all of those tragedies and moved you from place to place was to save you, it's not going to be the same as Gog and Magog. Why? That's the last time. Gog and Magog, there's no more after that. After Gog and Magog, all will finally know that the only Hashem can make these miracles. Only Hashem is the one that's running the world.